I built a supersonic NERF blaster. And then I hit someone in the balls and I got arrested.
What happens if you shoot a NERF dart faster than the speed of sound? Well, to answer that, I first need to make a blaster that can shoot a supersonic NERF dart. And right now I got absolutely no idea how to do that. Little did I know, this will become—
This guy always says he has no idea and then he managed to pull something out.
The longest, most expensive, most stressful, and most rewarding thing I've ever made. The only thing I know is that a normal NERF blaster shoots darts at about 60 feet per second. That's nice.
That's not very fast.
Just like 18 times slower than the speed of sound. Now, modifying the elements of the blaster would certainly make it faster, but still nowhere near supersonic.
I mean, it has to be, like, he has to speed it up somehow. He's effectively making, like, an actual gun.
But then, I remembered about this video by Destin from Smarter Every Day. He created a beautiful piece of engineering, which is basically a sophisticated potato cannon. And with that, he was able to shoot a baseball at Mach 1.3, using nitrogen at a pressure of about 600 psi. And well,
oh my god.
I think I just gotta make that handheld.
That's what happens to your nuts.
So I threw myself into a rabbit hole of PCP guns, potato cannons, air cannons, and valves.
My brother and his friends made a potato cannon when I was a kid, and they let me shoot it. They let me shoot a potato cannon. It was awesome. Alright, let's keep going. Ads are over.
A lot of valves. And after 8 days of research, while also working full-time for my cat, I ended up with this, which is basically a weird and very powerful NERF blaster. In theory, a classic air cannon has an air tank, a barrel, and a valve that you can close and open, and that connects the other two elements. Now, by building up pressure inside the tank and then opening the valve, the air flows into the barrel where the projectile sits, pushing it out very fast. This design actually follows the same principle, but the reason it looks like that, it's because it should be able to handle 30 times more pressure than a normal PVC cannon, shoot supersonic stuff, while also being handheld. Anyways, I'm gonna explain the function of each component as I assemble them. Starting from the barrel. This is a stainless steel hydraulic pipe, and it's currently 2 meters long. A longer barrel.
Chad, he's not telling you how to build a gun. It's a blaster, a NERF blaster.
Barrel allows the dart to accelerate for longer, increasing the speed. But if the barrel is too long, then it will have the opposite effect. It could be because of the pressure drop of the air expanding along the barrel, the air drag, or the friction between the NERF dart and the walls. All
yeah, that to say
I have no idea if the barrel is too long. I'll find out when I test it and maybe I'll shorten it. Also, the internal diameter of the pipe is 1 millimeter larger than the NERF dart. I actually previously bought a pipe with the same diameter of the darts, thought they would fit perfectly.
And it
they
doesn't.
don't. Then I connected the barrel to a compression fitting and I covered the thread with Teflon tape. All that goes right into this massive valve, which is the most important component of the blaster. This is a quick exhaust valve, or QEV. And the reason why it's so important is because if you want to shoot supersonic stuff with an air cannon, it's fundamental to let the air go from the tank to the barrel as fast as possible. Yeah. If I kept a classic ball valve and I opened it slowly, only a small part of the air in the tank would push the dart. And by the time the valve is completely open, the dart would have already left the barrel. So the goal is basically to have something in between the barrel and the tank that opens as fast as possible. Later, I found that 2 guys already attempted this project before, and they came up with a few—
Wait, that's— it's the guy who lives in Florida!
interesting solution for that. Alex Chappell built a handheld blaster using a ball valve, and he attached a spring to the valve to make it open faster. His blaster was handheld, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to reach supersonic speeds. And then, the backyard scientist. He built a very fast system, and instead of a valve, he used a burst disc. A burst disc is basically a disc that bursts when you reach a certain pressure. It is very fast, but it gets complicated to keep the system handheld, because you just gotta keep pumping until the disc breaks, and once it breaks, it takes a while to set up a new one. And so, I believe a QEV valve could—
yeah, that's not effective for blasting your balls, chat.
—be the best of both worlds. It's designed to dump the pressure from the tank into the barrel in milliseconds, and it also allows me to keep the system handheld. I'll show you later how it works. Right now I just want to mount the last components to see if it works. All my knowledge is based on YouTube videos and ChatGPT. Anyways, to supply the valve with air, I'm gonna use a paintball tank. Now, I could connect the tank to the side of the QAV, but I think it would look better if it was below the barrel, like in a PCP rifle. And to do so, I'm using a hydraulic hose to connect the tank to the QAV. The last component of the system is the ball valve that should activate the QAV. And once again, instead of placing it here, I'm using a bunch of hydraulic fittings to bring the ball valve behind the QAV.
He really asked for help from ChatGPT for this? ChatGPT, how do I make a bomb that's made it for pipes?
This way, everything should look like an NERF blaster, and I can also rotate the ball valve using a trigger. Of course, I still need to do a lot of things, but this right here should be a functioning air gun. So let's test it. To do that, I just need to fill the air tank, and since my normal air compressor only reaches about 110 psi, I got a paintball pump. This is a very special pump that can get up to 4,500 psi.
Damn!
So I push the dart into the barrel, and now I'm very curious to see if this thing is gonna actually work. For the first test, I'm pumping 10% of the maximum pressure the system can take. Nothing exploded so far, which is definitely a good sign.
And he has no protective gear. He's like, oh jeez, I'm gonna pump this all out, huh?
And so now, by opening the ball valve, I should activate the QAV, and I should shoot the projectile.
What that ass do? Oh, that didn't.
And this moment, ladies and gentlemen, is the moment I started to realize that after 1 month of work and research, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. When I shot, no air came out of the barrel. It all came out of the back, meaning the ball valve I just turned. And I really don't know why that happened. So I panicked for a while. What if I mounted the valve wrong? What if it's broken? ChatGPT and YouTube tutorials, right? I based my entire video on the QAV and it's shooting backwards. So I reached out to the manufacturer of the QAV looking for some help. And they actually gave me great news. They told me I need at least 1000 psi to activate the QAV valve, which is a simple fix. I mean, I just need to put more pressure in the system. The problem is that they also told me that the valve is designed for hydraulic pressure, and I really shouldn't use it for compressed air, which means the very fundamental component of my air blaster just got fundamentally useless. So I panicked again for a while, meaning 3 days, trying to find a way to make this work. And now I think I got it. I redesigned everything, the pneumatic components, the stock, and the look of the blaster with the plastic shell. And if I'm right this time, the blaster is gonna be very fast. It's gonna be handheld, and I'm also gonna be able to shoot about 20 times with a single charge. This video is such a perfect example of learning curve. I started with so much confidence, then I realized it was gonna be hard, but after that I thought I had a plan.
Me when streaming. Oh, I started streaming so easy that I'm like, oh god. Oh, I'm doing really good. Oh god, I'm a piece of shit. Oh my god, I'm doing great.
Just to find out I knew nothing.
Yep.
And now I think I know something about it.
Yep.
I just saw pump here and not here. For the new system, I bought the strongest pneumatic QAV valve I could find on the internet. It can handle up to 600 psi, which is basically the same pressure Destin used. And since it shoots air out of the exhaust almost instantaneously, even at 600 psi it will still shoot faster compared to using just a ball valve at 1000 or 2000 psi. Moreover, that kind of pressure will probably destroy the dart anyways. I want to show you how it works because it's so fascinating and it's honestly pretty unique.
Not a bullet.
But only if it works. Alright then, let's find out if I just wasted a month of my life.
Come on, man. Yes! Oh! Oh! Bullet! I need more bullets! It worked.
Well, it works.
Yes! Yes! He kind of looks like the bullets guy, huh?
I'm not sure how much pressure I put in there, but it was around 500 psi. And with that, I get a speed of 957 feet per second, which is not supersonic yet, but since I still got a few things to make it shoot faster, such as activating the ball valve with a trigger, and most importantly, increasing the pressure,
More
I really
pressure,
hope
more
we'll get
bullets.
there. Anyways, how this works and why is this valve so fast? This is basically the entire system simplified without the fittings and the hose. Basically, the QV has a strong flapper inside of it. When I fill the system with pressure, the flapper gets pushed against the barrel port, blocking it and allowing the pressure to build from this tank to this one. Now, when I turn the ball valve, the pressure behind the flapper flows outside the system. And since the flapper doesn't have any more pressure that keeps it against the barrel port, it now gets pushed against the supply port, blocking it, freeing the barrel port, and allowing all the air of the small tank to flow into the barrel. And all that happens in a matter of milliseconds. What's also nice about this is that I can shoot multiple times with a single charge. I can fill the 0.5 liters tank with 4500 psi, but if I set the regulator to, let's say, 400 psi, all the system will only reach a pressure of 400 psi. By then shooting, since this—
Oh my god, I just got PTSD from college physics. Different pressures and different systems doing math. I just unlocked the fucking pain in my brain. Yeah, PV equals nRT. I'm doing math problems. I hate college.
This channel is now closed. It means that half a liter of air at 4000 psi is still in the tank. And when I reopen the ball valve, another 400 psi of pressure will build up inside the system, ready to shoot again. Alright, now I gotta turn this into a blaster. And then I'm gonna test it. The idea is to create a strong wooden stock and then make it look good with a 3D printed shell. To make the wooden parts, I'm using a panel of birch plywood. It's 18mm or 0.7 inches thick, and so to support the pneumatic components, I'm gonna basically make 3 18mm stocks and then screw them and glue them together. So I drew the shape of the 3 stocks in CAD, printed them and glued them to the wooden panel, and this way I can crop them with a bandsaw, and after that, refine the edges with a belt grinder. The wooden stock is not gonna be visible, so it doesn't have to look too good, but the dimensions need to be very accurate to fit the pneumatic components. Anyways, I basically repeated the same process 3 times, and now I ended up with something like this.
Are you handy?
And honestly, I'm starting to feel like I'm kinda getting there. Now, before gluing the layers together, I gotta install the trigger system inside here. The trigger is gonna allow me to open the ball valve very fast, and it also allows me to keep the system handheld. To do that, I need to make 2 elements. The first one is a custom handle for the ball valve that's gonna be connected to a spring. I simply used a piece of steel, grinded the shape of the handle out of it, and I created the same hole the original handle had. And this way, it fits nicely on the valve.
That's lewd as hell, man.
And the second element is this chubby trigger I made out of a stainless steel block. I cut the block, grinded it, and now I'm drilling 2 holes in it. Basically like this.
Yeah,
one hole allows me to connect the trigger to the frame so that I can rotate it, and the second one is for the most important element of the trigger system, this bolt. Let me just mount it so I can show you how it works. Basically, the bolt is gonna hold the handle of the ball valve, but when I press the trigger, the bolt slowly lets the handle slide, and when the handle is free, the spring automatically opens the valve. So now I can glue the panels together and reinforce them with a few screws, especially on the parts that are gonna absorb a lot of the recoil. Maybe a lot of screws. Alright, now I can put the pneumatic components on top of the stock. Following my drawings, everything should fit perfectly.
Human error. So I had to take a woodworking class when I was like 12 and 14. I hated this shit. I hated that like human error makes things not fit together, because like you make a little millimeter mistake here and it doesn't fit and you have to redo the whole fucking thing. It's actual physical pain. You have to do all that work again. Yeah, and the shrinkage from like glue or like the wood. Oh.
Following my drawings, everything should fit perfectly.
Oh, he probably just fixed it.
As expected. Yay! Now, to keep all the pneumatic stuff in place, I'm using these clamps that go through the entire stock, basically like this. And so, here it is. This is with a 1 meter barrel, and it's already pretty big, but I can easily hold it and aim. With the original 2 meter barrel, I would have needed a bipod, and none of my friends wants to do it.
Oh,
so cool.
Gee, I wonder why. Your ears are probably get blown out if you're at the front.
The trigger system is not completed yet, but it works. And so now, I can move on to making the blaster actually look nice. I gotta tell you this story. A few years ago, one of my best friends got hit by a car as he was crossing the street on the crosswalk. He's okay now.
Whoa.
I mean, it's like he was before getting hit. But back then, well, it sucked. And the problem is that he told me he ended up accepting a pretty low settlement just because of the amount of paperwork and costs he had to face to try to get a fair compensation. But if you ever find yourself in a situation like that, you should at least try to get a fair compensation. And that's why I decided to partner with Morgan & Morgan for this project. They are the largest personal injury law firm in the United States. And they recently secured $12 million for a case in Florida and $26 million for a case in Philadelphia. And the crazy part is that these settlements were 34 times and 4 times the highest insurance offers, respectively. That's a lot. And the best part is that as a client, you don't pay a cent unless they win your case. There are no hidden fees and no upfront costs. They also make the whole process very easy. You can do everything right from your phone without the need to visit any offices. And it only takes a few minutes to see if you actually have a case. And so if you or somebody you care about unfortunately gets seriously injured, you can try to get a fair compensation for your troubles. And in some cases, that could be worth millions of dollars. To see what Morgan & Morgan can do for you, you can visit the link I'm placing here.
No, this isn't the first time Morgan & Morgan sponsored
and find out if you have a case in a matter of minutes. I'm also leaving a link in the description if you want to check them out at the end of the video. Now, I want to paint everything black, including the steel components. This could be a nice decision or a terrible decision.
Why not red?
I have no idea.
It looked cool.
What it's gonna be. So I tried using Super Blue first, which is a liquid that usually turns steel black, but it didn't really work on some of the components. So I went with the classic paint. I used a primer first, turned the blaster into a 3D model, and then I painted everything black. And honestly, I kinda like it already, but I think it's gonna look so much better with the red plastic shell. And so to make that, I took a slight inspiration from this PCP rifle, and I created a sketch of what my blaster would actually look like. The plan would be to make a 3D model of these components, and then 3D print them. The problem is that I don't know how to 3D model yet, and I didn't know how to 3D print either. And even though I generally try to do everything myself, this time I prepared a page of instructions, and I let somebody with much more experience than myself taking care of it. So in the meantime, I figured out how to 3D print, which was actually easier than expected. And after a few days, here they are. I still need to paint them, but they look very nice. Then I sent a few components to remove the 3D print marks, and after that, I could paint everything. And while the paint was drying, I ran a test to figure out the fastest configuration of the blaster. Long barrel, short barrel, and with 500 psi, the fastest one I got is with the short barrel, and the tank attached directly to the side of the QEV. And so I'll probably keep this one during the test.
He's min-maxing, Chad. He's min-maxing.
I have no idea why the blaster is making that noise after shooting. Anyways, now I can finally mount the plastic shell. But since my OCD mind couldn't accept the gaps between the parts, I felt it was my duty to sand everything again, remove the gaps, repaint, and then finishing everything with a weathering effect.
This guy's crazy.
And I don't want to be dramatic, I just want to be honest. And I like this dramatic song, so... Listen, I've been very stressed out in the past 2 months. I really didn't know what I was doing. And I probably didn't stop working on this once, besides when I was sleeping. But seeing how it turned out, I think it was worth it.
Man. Oh. Not so NERF. Chat, I'd shoot this. I should cook chatters with this. Little scope on the top. That was cool.
Not sure how I got to this point, but I'm excited. I want to show you the final trigger system because I think it's very interesting.
Watermelon?
And actually, I've never seen anybody else doing it this way. I attached a larger bolt to the ball valve lever. And now, basically to reload, I just pull the trigger, pull the lever, and then shoot. And then to shoot again right away, I just do the same thing. All right, let's test it.
That's
also,
very
with my
efficient.
current camera at 250 frames per second, as you can see, you can't really see the dart.
No.
So I bought an ultra slow motion camera. With this one, we should get pretty good shots in the videos from now on. The first test is gonna be with 590 psi. And also, while using the configuration with the tank on the side of the QEV. If it's not enough, I'm gonna just keep increasing the pressure until the flapper breaks, or I'll reach supersonic speeds. So, first shot, 590 psi.
now you can see it. Look at his hair blow back.
I didn't really understand what happened there. Because from the slow motion shot, it kinda looks like the dart came out of the barrel, split in half. I'm gonna try to shoot from different angles so I can maybe understand what's happening. And it was 975 though, which is like pretty insane for a Nerf dart, but still not supersonic. And so then I tried again with 600 PSI.
Oh, I'm gonna move a little bit.
And this time, it's pretty clear what's happening. The Nerf dart broke inside the barrel and came out with the cap separated from the body, which means that the real limit of the system is not the blaster. That can easily go to...
Yeah, and it's losing speed because it's broken.
600 plus PSI.
That sucks.
It's the Nerf darts. They just
it's getting split apart!
And so I tried shooting at a lower pressure of about 540 PSI. I think the dart stayed in one piece and the damage on the board was definitely higher. But the chronograph didn't read the speed. Now though, I'm gonna try to measure the speed with pause. Knowing the distance between them, 0.69 meters, I can find the velocity. First, I shot again at 600 PSI, and with that, I got a speed of 1056 feet per second on the tip of the Nerf dart. And that is actually very close to the speed of sound. Here's the speed of my blaster compared to a normal one.
Look at that thing! Oh my god, it didn't even...
Still not supersonic though. So I shot again at 540 and 500 PSI.
The thing didn't even reach the end point and already finished. That's so fast, that's so cool.
And I thought the darts didn't break with this pressure, but looking at this footage, they actually did. I could create a vacuum in the barrel or use helium, and those things would probably allow me to shoot supersonic. But I just want to try to keep things as simple as possible. And so modifying the darts is basically the only option available. At this point, I was ready to move on. End this video and attempt to reach supersonic speeds in the next episode using modified darts. But then the next day, something happened. I forgot to film a shot for the intro and a few others, so I went back to the field with my phone and the ultra slow motion camera using the configuration with the tank below the barrel. And this time, when I shot, this happened. That was a supersonic boom. That was a supersonic boom.
Oh my god, no way!
I swear. I'm sure. That was a supersonic boom. That was supersonic.
Oh my. Is he just lucky?
And if you pay attention, you'll notice that the dart somehow didn't break.
Dude, that's luck.
This was so unexpected, guys. Like I just came here to film the shot of the intro. I wasn't expecting. Yes! Yes! Fun. I didn't measure the speed to be fair, but I'm very confident it was supersonic. I mean, listen to the other shots, shooting at a wooden panel. And then to this one, with no target in front of the blaster. That was a supersonic boom. The problem is that I wasn't really sure why that happened.
The only thing that changed is that I used the blue Nerf dart instead of the orange one.
Blue's faster! Chat! Blue is faster than orange!
You remember the noise the blaster was making after shooting? This time, it didn't do it. That was a supersonic boom. Anyways, I tried again with 500 PSI and the blue Nerf dart. But this time, not only the shot was much quieter, but the Nerf dart broke, and the blaster also made the classic noise after shooting.
Huh. I don't know, I'm not a scientist.
And because of that, I got an idea. I'm not sure how much pressure I was using when I shot supersonic, but what—
The sound barrier depends on humidity, altitude, and a bunch of other things. Yeah, it could be anything. Like, again, it's not a controlled environment. Maybe, like, it was less humid the next day or something. I don't know.
If it was lower? And so I tried one more time with 430 PSI.
Yeah, it's not a controlled condition. You don't know.
I got it.
That's pretty cool, though. Good for him!
No way I got it, it was about the pressure. I was pumping way more than necessary inside the blaster.
And so using about 400 to 450 PSI is apparently the sweet spot for the Nerf darts. They don't break, they go supersonic, and the blaster also doesn't complain after shooting.
Which means that system right there is actually pretty great. because the valve is so fast that it allows me to shoot supersonic even with just 400 psi.
And since I'm only using 2/3 of the power of the blaster, the outer shot yesterday still works. I also want to shoot a lot of different targets with it. Let me know in the comments what kind of targets should I destroy, and I'll film them all with the ultra slow motion camera. It's gonna be fun. If you want to see the part 2 of this video, definitely subscribe if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram for updates on the stuff I'm working on. All right?
No, watermelon.
Thank you for watching.
I want to see a watermelon explode. That was sick! Thank you, Mike Shake. That was awesome. Yay! Chat Clampies. Check him out. He does all sorts of stuff. I think he's Spanish, lives in Italy, or he's Italian or lives in Spain. I can't remember which one. He's pretty cool.